Hello, lovely internet strangers. Today I thought I would talk about Kavanaugh, because why not bring a giant shitstorm upon myself? I mostly want to talk about it in terms of how it's made me feel more alienated from my fellow women. And I mean, there's nothing I can do about it except talk about it because they're not changing their position and I'm not changing my position. It seems like an issue that has become very, very divisive. And to even hold a nuanced position on the Kavanaugh situation is to be evil, is to be, oh, what's my favorite phrase? The secret agent for the patriarchy, internalized misogyny, etc. I don't have a firm position in terms of what I think happened. We don't know what happened. Anytime you try to adjudicate a case that involves sexual conduct, it's a he said, she said. This happened behind closed doors between her and someone else. She says to someone else's. And I don't necessarily know that she's lying. They keep saying, what she believes. Why wouldn't she, I think Hillary said something to the effect of like, why would she come forward if she didn't really believe this is what, happened to her? I'm like, what someone believes happened to them doesn't matter when you're talking about the legalities of putting someone behind bars for something. I had someone on my Facebook feed, someone I went to middle school with, basically saying, well, I don't remember the exact house from, when this drunk guy decided to target me in college, but, that doesn't mean it didn't happen, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, could you identify that guy from a lineup 30 years later? Or even in current year? Like, do you know who it was? Because it's entirely plausible that Ford was indeed assaulted, but that doesn't mean that it was Brett Kavanaugh. I don't know that it wasn't. It definitely could have been. We have no evidence. Personally, I think that the innocent until proven guilty thing is pretty much the best system that humans have ever come up with. It's still not perfect, but it's the best system that we have, in my opinion. Now, some people maybe don't share that opinion. In situations like this, people just get caught up in this one specific situation. They're just like, Brett Kavanaugh, this guy, like this situation. Like, no, this brings up a more fundamental question. Like, do you believe that it's innocent until proven guilty? Even if it's someone that you don't like, even if it's someone that you really want to see put behind bars for whatever reason. Having principles in place means those principles apply to everyone, and that sucks. If you have a vendetta, if you have some real personal passion against someone, if you really believe the person making the accusations, or even if you know that the accusations are true because you are that person and but you can't present the evidence, like that sucks. But that is the system that we have because we have decided that it is better to let a bunch of guilty people go free than to put one innocent person behind bars, especially when we have the death penalty on the line in certain crimes or extremely long jail sentences. We're living in a world where, in this particular case, for this kind of crime, that kind of accusation stains you. Everyone keeps talking about how, why would Ford come forward if it wasn't true? Again, I'm not saying that she came forward to lie, but everyone keeps talking about, all the consequences that she would face. And I just sit here and go, maybe that would have been true 20 years ago, but I don't see that happening. Sure, there's like a subset of people. I see that she got a ton of money on Kickstarter to support her. I'm not saying she did it to get the money, but she's obviously gotten a huge upswell of support, both financially and in social media. It also depends what circles you're running in, because in the circles that I run in, you have to support Ford. You have to believe Ford. She's not suffering any negative consequences in the circles that I run in. And Kavanaugh, this is always going to be over his head, even though he was not convicted of anything. He's been tried in the court of public opinion, regardless of any proof. If he did assault her, then sure, maybe he deserves it. But if we give precedent to making this kind of mockery of the concept of due process just for political goals, I don't think that the people who act in that way, who support what happened to Kavanaugh, how these proceedings were handled, understand that this can be turned around on them, on someone that they support. And that's what I care about. I care about the principles. I care about them being applied equally to everyone. You know, I'm not big on rules and laws. I'm a libertarian. I think the government shouldn't be involved in most things. But if we have a law, then it should apply equally to everyone. If we have systems and processes in place that protect people, they should protect everyone. Doesn't matter what your personal opinion is. That's what I think about the Kavanaugh thing. Even for the women that aren't hardcore feminists, I think still mostly are in this anti-Kavanaugh camp. I guess conservative women, there's some conservative women that support Kavanaugh, but I'm not friends with any conservative women. And conservative women and I probably don't agree on a lot of things in terms of, I'm extremely socially liberal, where they are not. I'm only really would agree with them on, economics and markets. There's this really great article in the New York Times, and when I say really great, I mean horrifying that this was published in the New York Times, called "White Women, Come Get Your People." These women are gender traders, to borrow a term from the dystopian TV series The Handmaid's Tale. Let's not even get me started on the fervor from the left and reverence for The Handmaid's Tale. That's a whole other video that I need to make at some point. They've made standing by the patriarchy a full-time job. Yes, because if you hold a different opinion than most women, then you're standing by the patriarchy. It can't be that you're an individual who has different values, who sees a situation in a different way for a whole host of reasons. I mean, it could be that woman who's holding a different opinion than you is wrong. But no, it's not just that she's wrong. It's not just that she's wrong. It's that she's standing by the patriarchy. That nebulous patriarchy boogeyman that's always right behind women whenever they're about to do something with agency. The patriarchy is there to stop them.
The patriarchy?
So you have pieces like this in the New York Times. Yeah, this gets to go in the New York Times. This is legitimate. Actually, I saw this through Benjamin Boyce's Twitter, and I replied to him basically saying, this is not a surprise to me, to be quite honest. I mean, I'm just surprised that this is being written in the New York Times. This has been stuff that Black feminists have been saying for a long time. Now, this chick who wrote this is white. As long as you agree with exactly what Black feminists are talking about, then you're allowed to, exist without, being executed and kicked out of the movement. This is kind of a ramble, but I just really wanted to kind of start to touch on these issues that set me apart from feminists and why I brand myself as an anti-feminist, because we fundamentally see the world in different ways. Rape culture and the believe victims idea. Thank you for listening. If you liked it, give it a like and subscribe so you'll see the next video. Hopefully, unless YouTube does something weird as we know they're doing on a regular basis.